is it's not just about odor. The industry loves to oversimplify and mischaracterize the concerns that environmentalists and community members have about this waste management system and say, I mean, this is just the smell, right? And surely, someone will call it the smell of money. And others will say, gosh, shouldn't you know, if you're living in a farming community, there's going to be some stench occasionally. Well, that is a gross oversimplification of the reality. The harms stemming from this system include, most notably, given I'm a riverkeeper organization, impacts to surface water and groundwater. So you can have waste running off, in the event of, even the small amount of rainfall we've seen today. Certainly, in the event of increasingly frequent and severe tropical storms and hurricanes, it's an even greater threat. But you can also see impacts into groundwater, both because all those lagoons that I was pointing out, those are largely unlined. The industry will insist that they are lined because there is compacted earth beneath them. It's an earthen liner. The other problem in terms of groundwater is that this industry concentrated heavily in a coastal plain where the high water table is particularly close to the surface of the land onto which they are regularly applying this waste. Water quality impacts are also seen, from occasional just direct discharge and violation of the permits. One of the great things that riverkeepers across the state do is monitor for compliance with the terms of the permit and have documented, various violations. Water quality is not the only problem. There are emissions of a number of different pollutants, most notably ammonia and hydrogen sulfide, both of which are harmful to human health, both of which contribute to the adverse odor. But the reason that I emphasize them as distinct from odor is because they can have really significant impacts on especially respiratory health. They're irritants. Folks can, in fact, die from hydrogen sulfide. That's rare in this context, but even been workers at the industry who have suffered that fate. Soil health is another issue, especially over time. The accumulation of particular constituents in this waste in the same spray field over multiple growing cycles presents a problem. And we talked about runoff. One of the concerns is that some of the pollutants will bind to the soil, and then when that soil, through erosion or sedimentation, enters into rivers, lakes, and streams, that can contribute to additional problems. I mentioned a little bit about public health. There was a study published in the North Carolina Medical Journal just a few years ago that associated a litany of adverse health outcomes with residents close to one of these facilities. In fact, the radius was 3 miles. If you lived within 3 miles of one of these operations, you were more likely to have a long list of adverse health outcomes. And then generally speaking, quality of life is a real concern. Folks can't or are reluctant to invite the neighbors over for a picnic outside, or to sit on the front porch and drink their sweet tea, or even to dry their clothes out on the line. So collectively, the system creates a whole lot of problems.